Ever wondered how to set up a drum kit perfectly? Well, it's not just about slapping together some drums and cymbals. The way you set up your drum kit can make a world of difference to your playing style and sound. A well-placed snare, a perfectly angled hi-hat, a comfortably set throne, every little detail matters. It's an art in itself, and today we're going to explore this art together, step by step. Ready to set the beat? Let's dive in. The heartbeat of your drum kit, the bass drum. This is the pulse that drives the rhythm, the foundation on which your beat is built. Now, let's talk about placement. The bass drum, often referred to as the kick drum, finds its home in the center of your kit. This central location allows for easy access and optimal sound projection. It's the hub around which all other components revolve. Next, we move to the pedal and beater. The pedal serves as the connection between your foot and the drum, while the beater is what strikes the drum head, producing that characteristic thump. It's essential to adjust the height of both these components for comfortable playing. Too high or too low and your foot may strain, affecting your performance. Consider the angle of the beater too. If it's too far back, you'll get a powerful hit but slower response. Too far forward, and you'll have a fast response but less impact. So it's about finding that sweet spot that suits your playing style. The pedal's tension is another factor to fine-tune. A tighter spring tension results in a faster pedal return, but requires more force to depress. A looser tension will be easier to press down but slower to return. It's a delicate balance, and the right setting will depend on your personal preference and the music genre you're playing. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all solution here. Every drummer has their unique style, and what works for one might not work for another. So don't be afraid to experiment and adjust until you find what feels right for you. This process might seem a bit tedious, but trust me, the end result is worth it. Your bass drum will sound better, respond better, and be more comfortable to play. So take your time, adjust, play, adjust again, and play some more. And before you know it, you'll have a bass drum setup that not only sounds great but also feels great under your foot. Remember, the bass drum is your rhythmic foundation, so make sure it's solid, comfortable, and ready to rock. The snare drum, the main voice of your drum kit. Think of it as the heartbeat of your rhythm, giving life and character to your music. But to get the most out of your snare, you need to set it up correctly. So let's dive right into it. First, you need to position your snare drum. Ideally, it should sit between your legs, forming a triangle with your thighs and the drum. This might seem a tad specific, but trust me, this positioning offers optimal stick control and comfort. What's the best height, you may ask? Well, the snare drum should be at a height where your stick hits the center of the drum when your arm is relaxed and your elbow forms a right angle. Now, you've got your snare drum in the right spot. But something still feels off. This could be because your snare is flat, making it a bit tricky to hit. Here's a little trick to fix this. Tilt the snare drum slightly towards you. This tilt not only makes it easier to play, but also reduces the risk of hitting the rim instead of the drum head. But remember, the tilt shouldn't be too steep. You don't want to be wrestling with gravity while trying to pull off a drum roll, do you? And there you have it. That's how you set up your snare drum. Remember, these are just guidelines. The true beauty of drumming lies in its flexibility. Feel free to tweak the position, height, and tilt of your snare drum until it feels just right for you. In drumming, just like in life, comfort is key. A well-positioned and comfortable snare drum will allow your creativity to flow, making it easier for you to express yourself through your beats. So take your time, experiment with different setups, and find what works best for you. And that's the end of our snare drum setup guide. Remember, a well-positioned snare drum can make all the difference. So get out there, set up your snare drum, and let your beats resonate with the world. Tom-toms, your kit's melodic elements. In the symphony of drums, the tom-toms are akin to the violins, providing the melody in the midst of the rhythmic cadence. Their position within your drum kit and the way they're tuned can have a profound impact on your overall sound. Let's start with arranging your tom-toms. There's no hard and fast rule here. It's all about what feels comfortable and natural to you. A common setup involves positioning them above the bass drum, or on separate stands, if you prefer. Imagine you are the conductor of your own drum orchestra. How would you arrange your violins? Now let's talk about adjusting the angle and height of each tom. This is crucial for your comfort and playability. The angle should be such that your drumsticks naturally meet the drumhead at a slight angle, not perpendicular. Think about it like a painter's brush. You want a smooth stroke, not a jab. The height of your toms is equally important. You should be able to reach each tom without straining or stretching. A good rule of thumb is to adjust the height so that your arms form a right angle when your drumsticks are on the drumheads. This allows for a full range of motion and comfortable playing. Tuning your tom-toms can be an art in itself. Each drum should be tuned to your desired pitch for the music you're playing. A jazz drummer may prefer a higher pitch, while a rock drummer may lean towards a lower pitch. It's all about finding the right balance that harmonizes with your unique playing style and the genre of music you're playing. The tom-toms add color to your drumming, so take time to set them right. Remember, your drum kit is an extension of you. Each component, each adjustment, and each tune is a reflection of your unique rhythm, style, and musical personality. So go ahead, conduct your orchestra, and let your tom-toms sing their own melody. The tom-toms add color to your drumming, so take time to set them right. The hi-hat, the rhythmic guide of your drum kit. This percussive pair of cymbals, resting on a stand, is more than just another component of your setup. It's the pulse, the heartbeat of your groove, and knowing how to handle it can make a world of difference in your playing. Starting off, let's talk about placement. The hi-hat stand should be positioned to your left, assuming a right-handed setup. Depending on your comfort and playing style, you might want it closer or further away. The key is to ensure that it's within easy reach, but not obstructing the snare drum or any of the toms. Now, let's move on to the height of the hi-hat. The top cymbal, yes, the one that moves when you step on the pedal, should be at a height that allows you to strike it comfortably, whether you're sitting or standing. This might take some trial and error, but once you find that sweet spot, you'll know it. Next up is the pedal tension. This might seem like a minor detail, but it's actually quite significant. The tension of the hi-hat pedal determines how quickly the top cymbal responds to your foot's movements. If you prefer a tighter, more controlled sound, increase the tension. If you're more into a loose, splashy vibe, decrease the tension. Again, this is all about personal preference, so feel free to experiment until you find what feels right for you. And just like that, we've covered the basics of hi-hat handling. Remember, the hi-hat is not just another cymbal. It's a versatile tool that can add depth and dynamics to your rhythm. Spend some time getting to know it, adjusting it, and most importantly, playing it. A well-set hi-hat can transform your rhythm and groove. So give it the attention it deserves, and watch as your beats come alive with newfound energy and vibrancy. Crash and ride cymbals, the icing on your percussive cake. Picture this. You've got a delicious, well-baked cake, but it's the icing that really brings out its character, right? That's exactly what crash and ride cymbals do for your drum kit. They add that extra layer of depth, color, and personality to your rhythmic creations. Let's talk about positioning first. Crash cymbals are typically placed within easy reach, ready to provide those explosive accents when needed. They're your punctuation marks, your exclamations, and your dramatic flourishes. So positioning your crash cymbals where you can strike them without overextending yourself is key. Next, we have the ride cymbal, your steady rhythmic companion. It's often placed on your right side, sometimes hovering over the bass drum. This is your go-to for maintaining a consistent beat during those complex fills and grooves, so you'll want it within comfortable reach too. Now let's discuss angle and height. It's not just about reaching your cymbals, it's also about striking them in a way that produces the sound you're after. Adjusting the angle can change the timbre and dynamic of your playing. A flatter angle might give you a washier, more resonant sound, while a steeper angle could provide a more focused, punchy strike. As for height, it's a balance between comfort and sound. Too high, and you might struggle to reach your cymbals or lose control of your strikes. Too low, and you risk hitting other parts of your kit or compromising your posture. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach here. It's all about finding what works best for you and your unique style of playing. Don't be afraid to experiment with different positions, angles, and heights. You might be surprised at how much these subtle changes can affect your sound and playing comfort. After all, it's these fine details that can transform a good drum kit setup into a great one. And there you have it. You're now one step closer to perfecting your drum kit setup. Remember, the right cymbal setup can add sparkle to your sound. The drum throne, your perch for the performance. It's more than just a seat. It's the foundation for your playing posture and comfort. So, let's get it right. First things first, adjust the height. Your thighs should be parallel to the ground. This position ensures a balance of power and flexibility, allowing your feet to comfortably reach the pedals and your arms to move freely. Now don't overlook stability. A wobbly throne can throw off your rhythm and concentration. Make sure your throne is firm and sturdy, ready for those extended jam sessions. And speaking of extended sessions, comfort is paramount. A good throne offers enough cushioning to keep you cozy through your longest gigs or practice sessions. You don't want discomfort to distract you from the rhythm, right? Remember, your throne is your command center. It's where you channel your energy into the beat. So, take your time setting it up. Comfort on the throne can lead to a commanding performance. Now for the final touches. As you get comfortable behind your drum kit, let's talk about adjusting the drum hardware. Your hardware should be as reliable and sturdy as possible. You don't want a cymbal stand tipping over in the middle of your killer solo, right? Make sure all the stands are tightened appropriately and that the drums are secure. Next, let's talk about your drum heads. These are going to play a big part in the sound of your drums. Different types of drum heads will give you varied tones, so don't be afraid to experiment. Once you've chosen your drum heads, it's time for tuning. By adjusting the tension on the drum head, you can achieve your desired pitch. Some drummers prefer a lower, fuller sound, while others might want a tighter, higher pitch. It's all about what sounds good to you. Now, onto the pedals. The tension on your bass drum pedal can greatly affect your playing style. If it's too loose, you might find yourself working harder to get the sound you want. If it's too tight, you could risk damaging your bass drum. Find a balance that suits your footwork. Also, ensure that your hi-hat pedal responds smoothly. Cymbal angles are another aspect to consider. Changing the angle of your cymbals can create different playing dynamics. Make sure your cymbals are securely attached to their stands, and play around with angles until you find what works for you. Lastly, let's revisit your drum throne. The height should allow your feet to comfortably reach the pedals and your arms to move freely. If you're too high, you'll struggle to reach the pedals, and if you're too low, you might find yourself hunching over your kit. These are all general guidelines to help you start your drumming journey. The key here is to experiment and personalize your setup. After all, every drummer is unique, and so should be their drum setup. It's about finding what makes you comfortable, what makes you play better, and what makes you feel like you're in the groove. Remember, the best drum setup is the one that makes you feel like a rock star. Setting up a drum kit is more than just arranging equipment. It's about creating an environment that allows you to express your musicality to the fullest. From positioning the bass drum in the center for that deep, resonant heartbeat of your rhythm, to adjusting the snare drum between your legs for that sharp, crisp accent. Remember to position your tom-toms and cymbals to your preference for those melodic accents and rhythmic fills. Now, don't forget the hi-hat. Placing it to your left, and adjusting the tension just right, can give you that perfect crisp and sizzling sound. And what about the crash and ride cymbals? They need to be within your easy reach for those powerful accents and rhythmic patterns. The importance of a comfortable and stable throne cannot be overstated. This is your command center, your seat of power, where all the magic happens. Adjusting the height just right will ensure that your feet can comfortably reach the pedals and your arms can freely reach all parts of the drum kit. The experimentation with drumhead types, tuning each drum to your desired pitch, adjusting the tension on the pedals, and finding the perfect cymbal angles are all vital elements in setting up your drum kit. And remember, comfort is key. Your setup should allow you to play for extended periods without strain. This is your space, your rhythm, your beat. So set up, tune up, and play on.